Director of the Manhyia Palace Museum, Mr. Ivor Jimaindia, to give us the welcome address. Thank you.
Yes.
Today marks exactly 85 years from 1931 since the elders of Kumasi and the British colonial authorities unofficially communicated to the Gold Coast colony that the Asantehene Prempeh I had joined eternity. We will humbly invite the heritage bearer, his great-grandnephew, Opemsuo Tutu II, to lead us in a minute of silence in his memory as we stand. May his soul, the soul of those who perish ashore the Indian Ocean, and those of others who return, continue to rest in peace. Please be seated. Imperial ambitions, reflected in Asante's own history of lost battles, looted regalia, and exile, shaped the creative outlook of his visual artists. From goldsmiths and bronze casters to terracotta artists in the 1800s. The most visible reminders of these were returned from the British Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum 2 years ago. The Asantehene's position was that contemporary art in Ghana faces a real threat. Local acquisition and patronage are increasingly weak, as Ghanaian works are being purchased or lost through auction markets. The Opemsuo Art Awards is therefore a mechanism of self-renewal and internal appreciation. After the inaugural last May, 2 works of the laureates, Professor Atudilaki and Kwame Akoto, were part of the Hands of Heritage exhibition at the National Gallery in Victoria, Seychelles. It was inspired and in the spirit of an MOU with the Creative Seychelles Agency. And again, we are happy to have the executive director with us. We have had similar engagements with the National Trust Commission of the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Rwandan Cultural Heritage Academy, in which the shared histories of these ancient kingdoms will be better related to the youth of their countries through ICT. As we welcome all of you, we are mindful of the intentions that unite us. We have benefited from the historical memories of the 103-year-old Agnes Adokufo, wife of the late Asantehene Prempeh II. Over 6 years ago, our current collections manager, Gordon Frimpong, worked with her to secure for us more than 100 visual images documenting the socio-cultural movements and people of Kumasi from the 1950s. We have conducted similar exercises on acquisition of old photography for archiving and possible exhibitions. A working title of the Images of Kumasi will benefit from a British Museum grant as part of its image makers that is exploring photographs from Africa. We continue to receive inquiries on our restitution journeys locally and internationally, including from some of you distinguished guests. Perhaps this is an opportunity to explain some few developments. The Wallace collection in the United Kingdom, which are some of the most exotic global works of art, especially gold collection of the 19th century millionaire, Sir Richard Wallace, has designed 2 major exhibitions of English and Asante interest. On May 29th, a couple of weeks from now, there will be the opening of Winston Churchill's The Painter, the art of the famous British leader of the Allied forces during the Second World War, and whose 50 painting exhibition has already been oversubscribed in the entire 6 months. It will be followed from October 14th to November 2027 by Encountering Gold, Asante and the Wallace Collection in the housekeeper's room at the Hartford House. The 5-month exhibition of gold regalia, looted in the Third Anglo-Ashanti War in 1874, will officially be opened by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, and will have a companion international conference of over 200 participants. It will be the formal openings of our restitution engagement with them. Again, in the last 2 years, from May 2024, we have worked with the Wellcome Collection in London, a major trust established in memory of another famous British millionaire, scientist, and art collector, Henry Wellcome. He also purchased looted objects from the 19th century. We have done the identification and authentication of the objects at their national collection in England, and developing a request for the permanent return of the first 8 of 56 objects. This should be at the end of this year, and the first return will be from early next year. The provenance history entailed translations from Arabic into English of talismanic materials and objects from the early 1800s to the 50s. This is funded by them and involved 2 specialists, including Professor David Owusu-Ansah of James Madison University. This was a period when Muslim clerics dominated military policies during the reign of Asantehene Osei Kwame and those of his succeeding brothers, Asantehenes Osei Bonsu and Osei Yaw Akoto. On November 9th last year, we visited the National Army Museum in the Industrial Park outside of Stevenage in north of London, which has some of the other looted objects, including, ironically, gifts from the great imperial empress, Queen Victoria, to Asantehene Kofi Kakari. They were taken by her own looting brigade, which did not seem to know the difference between home gifts, that is homemade ones, and indigenous ones. On their return from the October inquest and authentication, lithographic images were presented for Otumfuo's review on October 29th. It was, however, during the London visit that we discovered famous paintings of 2 soldiers from Kwabri district in the Mampong Tin town of Kumasi, that is very close to Kumasi. That's the Hungarian who we will be celebrating this evening, entitled The Hungarian Artist in the Gold Coast, Ghana. We have developed a strategy for a central storage facility to house incoming objects and those already in our care, ensuring that these ancestral handmaidens are properly secured in their original homes. Aside the Kotokohene's personal interest and investment, goodness favored our collaboration with Justice and Repair. In collaboration with them, a new central museum storage with conservation and traditional music hubs will be completed before the end of the year and will be the largest in the country, standing alongside the new Arts and Culture Gallery in this palace, which is set to be open in the coming months, probably 2 months from now, by the Asantehene. We are grateful to its founders, the lawyer previously with MacArthur Foundation in Chicago, Yvonne Dakwapoku, and the Kenyan non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, and formerly with the Wellspring Foundation in the United States, Dr. Godfrey Odongo. As well, we are partnering the Nelson Mandela Foundation in a major exhibition on the sometimes little discussed slave trade in the Indian Ocean. This will be in Mauritius in August this year, and it is titled Forgotten Since One, of some 35 paintings, which will be varied in November at this museum in another exhibition as Forgotten Since Two. It will be with some Indian Ocean artists, including from Seychelles. Since the Otumfuo-led restitution journeys began, we have received global gestures and media attention, not least from reparatory institutions, but high art patrons. To help with growth and broader internationalization of our objectives, the executive chairman of the Savani Group, Thomas Swanika, who in diplomacy is also the Consul General for Colombia, and wife of Ambassador Johan Swanika, last week donated to us a brand new 4-wheel drive. Whilst we share these with you, we revert to our 2026 laureates and applaud them. Our big welcome, however, goes to Lady Julia Osei-Tutu. The chief patron of the Arts Award, who has supported Ghanaian artists and quietly over the years as a collector. Of course, she does this with her husband. Yesterday, she hosted the laureates, members of the diplomatic community, and friends to a welcome cocktail reception that carried her own distinctive touch. We will want to welcome again and again to Kumasi Professor Malcolm MacLeod, co-founder 30 years ago of the Manhyia Palace Museum, a good friend of the Asantehene who has traveled from Scotland to be with us on his 85th birthday. This year also happens to be 60 years since he started coming to Ghana as a young scholar from Oxford. It was through his friend, the Archbishop Emeritus of the Catholic Church, His Eminence Peter Kwesi Sapon. Professor MacLeod, you may acknowledge your recognition. Appreciations are also due the institutions of the laureates coming from outside Ghana. Their travels and other logistics were self-funded, for which we are most grateful. From London, the Tate Modern and the British Museum, and from the United States, Ouzu's and Efia Prempeh Studios in New York. The delegation from Eswatini and their Ministry of Culture, and the Executive Director of Creative Seychelles Agency from the government of Seychelles. The museum staff put in a lot. The collections department and the head of research, Dr. Osebwachi, who also led our team in the UNESCO Maiden National Memory of World Register. We are also grateful to our curator, who is an associate of the museum and who we commissioned to do the portraits of the laureates, Patrick Williams Diodu, and of course to Nana Efia Prempeh, who was also with us last year. The finance team at the museum ensured that prudent savings from last year will cater for the expenditure of this event, which has been held mainly on the shoulders of the museum's revenue. We are developing a financial partnership strategy to keep this going, and would like to express our profound gratitude to others like the DB Sapon Foundation, set up by the children of our former board chair, Mr. Yaomenu Sapon. We will also like to say that the revamped museum website has started publishing its restitution updates, cultural assets, the tangibles and the intangibles, as well as briefs on the annual financial incomes and expenditures, grants and others, as a standard practice, and we encourage you to visit the site. Again, we would like to thank all of you, and you are most welcome to the Manhyia Palace and to the museum.